From the basic Solow growth model, we have already know that once capital per worker and output per worker achieve at the steady state, the situation occurs when the investment is just enough to cover depreciation. Then capital per worker remain the same and change in K was zero. This will lead to capital per worker and output per worker constant. Actually, output per worker can be called as GDP per capita. So we can imply in the basic Solow growth that GDP per capita remain constant at steady state too. However, this is not true in the real world economy since GDP per capita is increasing. Therefore, the basic Solow growth model cannot explain the GDP per capita. That's why we need to make the adjust on the model. To explain GDP per capita through the Solow growth model, we have to add some variable into the model. First, we will add the rate of population growth, which value can be between 0 and 1. We will get the equation of motion for K with population growth. Delta K equal to SFK minus delta plus N times K, where SFK is an actual investment and delta plus NK is a break-even investment. In this case, we need to invest and keep capital per worker constant, not only by invest to cover the depreciation of the new exit capital stock, but you also need to invest in order to equip that newborn worker the same account of capital stock that each of the old workers has to. Since we add the population growth in model, delta K will change to delta plus NK. If the population growth increase, this will lead delta plus NK to shift upward from delta plus N1K to delta plus N2K. An increase in the population growth will also cause the steady state capital per worker to the lower.
Suppose we have 4 workers and each worker has 1 screwdriver. When we have 2 newborn workers, we have to make an investment in order to keep capital per worker constant. Since the higher level of newborn workers should be giving the same amount of capital as the old worker has, but it is quite difficult to maintain the higher level of capital per worker constant, so the steady state capital per worker tend to be lower. However, adding the growth rate of the population still cannot explain the growth of GDP per capita since capital per worker constant at the steady state. Therefore, we need to add another variable, which is technology, into the model as well. For the aggregate production function in general, labor productivity directly, and we can call this kind of technology as labor augmenting. Now our aggregate production function will be y equal to fk and an, where an is an effective labor represents the effectiveness of each labor, which is already enhanced by technology. Then we assume the production function again to be a constant return to scale, and we making it into per effective worker or an. We will get y divided by an equal to fk divided by an and 1. Y equal to fk and 1. Y equal to fk. But y and k will be output per effective workers and a capital per effective worker respectively in this case. However, this cannot use to compare GDP per capita since this form is not exactly output per workers. Now, we add a technological progress to go at the rate of g, which value can be between 0 and 1, into the model. The equation of motion for k will become the chain of k equal to SFK minus delta plus n plus d times k, where SFK is an actual investment and delta plus n plus d time K is a break-even investment with technological progress. Previously, we have to invest enough to cover depreciation and also invest to equip the newborn workers. The reason why we have the term of GK because now we need to invest to equip the new imaginary clone worker the same amount of capital stock too. For example, we have initially 3 workers and equip the amount of capital equal to 3 too. According to the population goal, we have some newborn worker and already invest for the capital to make it become constant. When we have an advance in technological progress, our initial worker will work effectively better than before, meaning that one worker can work and provide the productivity as much as 3 workers can. Now one initial worker will have his or her own 3 imaginary workers which represent an ability for the rate of technological progress we have. Therefore, we have the new variable on the slope of the straight line, delta plus n plus g times k, which is g and it can affect the steady state.
To return back to the output per worker form, we need to change output per effective worker, y equal to y over an, and capital per effective worker, k equal to k over an, thus remaining constant at the steady state by simply multiply a in both. So output per worker will be y over n equal to ya, and capital per worker will be k over n equal to ka. As k and y will be made constant at the steady state, but a is not. A is still growing by the rate of technological progress. Therefore, the whole term of the output per worker and capital per worker will also grow as the rate of technological progress too. Now we can conclude that the growth rate of the output and capital per worker will be G in the steady state. In conclusion, this new slow growth model with technological progress had output per worker grow at the rate of technological progress. In this model, we are successfully generating the increase of growth rate in output per worker or GDP per capita, and that's why we can use this model to explain GDP per capita instead of the basic slow growth model.